Hello everyone out there in YouTube, and welcome to the episode 28 special of my Doctor Who action figure reviews. Now obviously today we are not looking at action figure adventures, so this will be my first ever merchandise review. And as you can see, the theme we are going with is the Doctor's trusty sonic screwdriver. So essentially I'm going to be reviewing each of the released sonic screwdrivers by character options. I'm going to go through them in Doctor order from the 3rd through to the 11th. I have quite a lot of things to say about these, as there are pros and cons to each release. Some of them I'll go into in a bit more detail why I do or do not like them. Anyway, to start the ball rolling, I would begin in an ideal world with the Mark I sonic screwdriver as used by Patrick Troughton, but we don't have one. So we're going to begin with the Mark II sonic screwdriver as used by Jon Pertwee. This model is of course based on the first model, the sonic screwdriver that Jon Pertwee has. This is the model seen in the Sea Devils and in the Carnival of Monsters, most notably. As you can see, it's got the red circular head painted in a matte, a kind of a glossy red. It has the silver pointy bit here, and at the front it is completely silver as well, and you've got the little bolts on the inner part of the circle. If we go down here, you have the tube, which is very, very nice. It's painted in a combination of metallic chrome colours, silver colours, red, and then you have the yellow and black spring section. If you look at the story, the Sea Devils and the Carnival of Monsters, you will know that this shouldn't have 4 of these black bars. This should, if it was correct, have the 3 bars going round, and they should be more spaced apart. So I don't know why they've done 4. I think it might just be so the spacing is a bit more even. And this is just a ordinary sticker wrapped around the it's a laminated sticker wrapped around the tube. It's very, very nice. Mine's unfortunately got a bit of a dent there, but since this screwdriver is often used like that, it's not much of a problem. And then you've got more of the rigid sections here. You've got this silver section and then this raised piece around here, and then this carries on, and then when we get to the handle, things become a bit more interesting. You have the silver and then the black lines separating each of the sections with gloss black paint, very, very nice. And then the main handle itself is one thick cylindrical piece, which is moulded slightly here. And then you have the gloss black paint around the edge here, and the lines going around here. You have the black band that features on many screwdrivers going across here. And then in between here you have all this silver metal paint, which is very, very nice. The battery compartment is here. It uses, I think, 1 or 2 watch batteries. And then you have the black gloss black paint going around here. If you look at the bottom, you have this bit here where the rounded part has been cut out, which is how it appeared on the actual screwdriver, and the black dot as well. And at the bottom we have the obvious speaker, and then all the copyright nonsense is put there. I can't quite get it in the light, but as you can see, you've got all the BBC copyright license stuff there. So that's the detail of this screwdriver. Now, as a Doctor Who fan of the classic era in particular, you will know what sounds these screwdrivers are supposed to make. If it was the Silurians, not the Silurians, the Sea Devils, it makes that loud beeping noise, and in the Carnival of Monsters it makes a singular bleep when he ignites the gas. So you'd naturally expect that these, being classic screwdrivers, would feature the classic sound effects. However, if we just pull down the cylindrical tube, we unfortunately have the David Tennant and Christopher Eccleston sound effects from the new series screwdrivers. Now, seeing as this was the first screwdriver released and none of the others had been released then, I kind of didn't mind this too much. However, it makes you wonder why they haven't got these classic sounds when they could easily rip it from a story, which I have actually done before for action figure reviews, and put them on a sound card and put them in here. As they have released this screwdriver twice. They did a £20 version and a £10 version. Now I'd expect the £20 version to at least have the sounds, but that was the first one released and it didn't. So it's a bit disappointing that we're left with the same two sounds from the new series, which don't sound anything like the actual screwdriver itself. So that's a bit of a shame. One last thing to mention is, obviously this tube is raised more than the other screwdrivers. This tube has got the silver bit here, and then the black bit completely covered by the tube. This is again, it's got these lines in it, very nice, and how it appeared in the series, painted in a gloss black. And as you can see, the tube goes all the way up to the neck here, and you can't see the black bit. So that's the third Doctor screwdriver. Okay, nice little design of the screwdriver, but again, like I said, no classic sound effects. And keep that thought in mind as we move on to the next screwdriver, which is of course the fourth Doctor's sonic screwdriver. Now as you can see, this is essentially the same as the previous screwdriver. If we take a look at them here side by side, the two are very, very similar in design. As you can see, obviously here, the neck is actually lower on this screwdriver. This screwdriver should really be longer, I believe, but it isn't. It's the same height as the other one, but we've got this neck piece protruding out a bit more. Again, it's painted in the same red around the circle with the same red on the little bolts. The difference here in the head is, of course, you have the dark red magnets attached to it like the fourth Doctor has, and then at the end it's silver. And on the inside, I don't know whether I'm going to be able to get this in the shot, but on the inside there is also another little screw. I could just about see it there, and there's another little screw on the inside. And then when we get to the screwdriver again, you have this black dot, which is on the actual version. If you have the metal replica, this is also there as well. The tube is essentially the same, except the bit that now had a sticker is just completely silver, which is correct for this screwdriver, especially in season 12. Then you've got this here, which is again the same with the black lines. And then the handle is notably different again, as all the black detailing is completely gone, and all the white detailing, oh, that was something I forgot to mention, there's also the white detailing around here on this screwdriver. And then the black and white detailing is gone. Still got this little band of black paint here, which is very, very nice, still in this singular circle of gloss black paint here. Battery compartment in the same place, and again, all the BBC copyright stuff here. So, this is, again, a nice screwdriver. If you're a collector of the classic series, if you like the classic series sonic screwdriver, it looks very, very nice. However, character options have once again giving you the Eccleston and Tennant sound effects. Now, this was the second classic screwdriver to be released, not long after the third Doctor, so naturally you'd think, oh, why haven't they fixed that? And again, it beggars belief when you can get the fourth Doctor sound effects on a Radiophonic Workshop CD that they haven't actually corrected them. Why? I mean, they're not even... I could say it over and over again, they don't sound like the actual sound effects. If it's a case of money, charge more for the screwdrivers, because I'm willing to pay it. I'm sure other people would too, as I'd imagine classic sonic screwdrivers would be bought by collectors anyway. So that's the fourth Doctor. Again, was re-released. It was released as a £20 version and then a £10 version, but both versions again had the incorrect sound effects. Now, the next screwdriver, while not strictly the next one to be released, however it's the next one in order, is the fifth Doctor's sonic screwdriver. This is essentially identical to the fourth Doctor model, and was used by the fourth Doctor in The Keeper of Traken and other season 18 stories. And the only differences between this and the previous model are that this head is now completely red. It's a lighter red than the previous model, and the magnets are completely red as well, but we've still got the silver at the ends. And then here we have the white band, which did feature on the actual screwdriver before it got destroyed in the Visitation, which is odd why they released this one, as it's only in 4 stories. Nice to have, but not the most obvious release. But oddly enough, it should really have a gold band, if I remember correctly, around here, as does feature on the action figure versions. But that hasn't been included. Why? I don't know. but I can sort of live with it as it does resemble the on-screen screwdriver. Again, you've got the black dot, again you've got the lines here and the same band and etc. on the handle. However, with these sound effects, they are different. Are they correct? Yes and no. For the first sound effect, that is a kind of generic sound effect for the screwdriver, so that one's okay, but the second one, that is an 11th Doctor sound effect. So this screwdriver is using the 11th Doctor sound card. Now why on earth have they done that? I don't know. It just beggars belief. This was actually one of the latest screwdrivers to be released in wave 2 of the £10 sonic screwdrivers, and they've just reused the same sound card. Again, I ask, why would you release a £10 version with the wrong sounds when you could do a £20 version with the correct sounds, which do now exist, and you can again get them on the Radiophonic Workshop CD, and just not do it? It beggars belief. I mean, it's definitely the Maximus sound card, because if you do this, you get the Maximus hidden sound effects. So it's an 11th Doctor sound card in a 5th Doctor screwdriver. And it's kind of frustrating really that classic screwdrivers have still got the incorrect sound effects. But I don't want it to sound like I'm moaning, but this one, I think if you wanted to buy a sonic screwdriver, unless you're a collector like me, pass on this one, because it'll probably get re-released like the other two, and we may get the sound effects if people listen. It's just this one is not very different to the 4th Doctor version. It's not the most exciting and notable variant, and I don't think it's worth the £10 until they get the sounds right, really. So this one, it's kind of disappointing that you still don't have the sounds 3 screwdrivers in, but if you're a collector, buy it, as it is only £10. Now, along the similar lines, the 8th Doctor screwdriver does feature the same sound effects, but I'll get onto that in a moment. This came out in the same wave as the Peter Davison screwdriver, wave 2 for £10, and if you look at it, it is notably different to other models. This model is the one as seen in the TV movie and again in The Night of the Doctor. Now, I'm sure people would like to see the Dark Eyes version, I would too, but this is the more recognised 8th Doctor screwdriver, so I'm glad to have this. I'll just go into the detail. As you can see, like the Pertwee, it's got no magnets here, it's just completely flat, except this is now red, and the ring is now silver as it should be, and you have a different tip on the end. It's bigger than the other versions and longer, and it's painted in a gloss red. Now, if you watch the movie, Sylvester McCoy actually points it like that, which is apparently pointing it the wrong way, and the top is slightly blurred. And I've been wondering which way you hold that, and I still don't know. Could someone please tell me? Because I watched The Night of the Doctor recently, and I noticed Paul McGann had it like this in one scene, and then when scanning Cass, it was like this. So I'm not quite sure how to hold this one, so if someone can tell me that, let me know. In terms of detail, same cylindrical tube, however it's now painted in a silver colour, it seems a different tone of silver to the other models. There is no black along these lines, it's just completely silver, and of course when we get to the handle, things have changed quite notably. We now have the gold band around here, which is correct. This was on the screwdriver, very, very nice. There's no black or anything on this, it's completely silver again. And when we get to the bottom, the screwdriver isn't it hasn't got this rounded bottom, it's just a completely flat bit at the bottom and a new speaker compartment. So this one's completely flat and can actually just, if I just put that back, it can stand like that. So that's very, very nice that they've changed the handle. And of course you've got the copyright stuff again. Now, unlike other screwdrivers, this model doesn't pull down. This one is just a solid piece of plastic. Now, that's actually correct, as it did indeed have just a button, which is here on the gold band. And if you press it, you get the 11th Doctor sound effects again. Now, initially when I bought this, I was furious that this screwdriver had these sounds, as I thought it didn't have them. However, upon watching the movie again, particularly in terms of the hidden sounds, if you press this 3 times, well, yeah, you get that sound effect. Now, that's the sound effect in the movie, which the 11th Doctor screwdriver actually borrowed. So, having the 11th Doctor sound card in this screwdriver actually works, as it does have the sounds it uses. The only problem with the button is the positioning, as this screwdriver is held sort of like that by Paul McGann in Night of the Doctor. Let me just zoom out a little bit. It's held like that. So how on earth are you supposed to hold it like that? You can't, because he doesn't hold it like that at all. So it's difficult to hold it like with the button down there. And also another feature this screwdriver is supposed to have, if you go by the specifications and the movie, is that this screwdriver is supposed to be telescopic. So naturally you'd assume, since it says telescopic, that if you tap it on the head, it'd go down. It doesn't have that feature. They listed that as a feature for the screwdriver, and it's not there. Why? I mean, it may be a tooling case, but why tell us that it's going to be telescopic and even go to the trouble of putting the button there if you're not going to include the telescopic feature? I've had a look at everything. People have said that it must twist and go down. It doesn't. I've tried twisting it. It doesn't budge. It's solid plastic. It doesn't go down at all. And even in the movie, Sylvester goes like that, and so does the 8th Doctor. So I was a bit disappointed that they didn't include that feature, because essentially we got 2 new screwdrivers with another different sound card. This one gets the sounds right, but doesn't have all the features. So again, we've got a screwdriver which doesn't quite fulfill what it should. So, in terms of the 8th Doctor, £10 again. This one I'd say is worth getting, as you do at least get correct sound effects. We may see another version of this screwdriver that is telescopic, possibly in the future, maybe £20, maybe more. I don't know whether customization to make it telescopic could be possible. It would require somebody more skilled than me. The last feature I'll mention is that the neck bit is chrome silver instead of black. So that's the 8th Doctor screwdriver. Again, good in terms of the sound effects. Nice design if you're a classic collector, but still not quite perfect. So the next one to look at is a very recent model, which is the other Doctor's sonic screwdriver, or if we're to call it correctly, the War Doctor's sonic screwdriver. Now, naturally being a new series screwdriver, you'd expect that this screwdriver maybe will have the new series sound card. And I'll be honest, it cost £20, I was expecting that. So I'm naturally assuming that this is going to have the classic sound, well, the new series sound effects. Oh, bother.